Just to give a quick agenda of what I wanted to cover off on for today, I think really the focus will be looking on sections 301, 302, and 307 of the Food Safety Modernization Act. But I guess I'll start by recapping some of the need for FSMA and a bit of an introduction to some of the reasons and I guess some of the core details around the act itself. So go through and do that. Look at some of the core themes of why we're looking at FSMA and why it's important, not only for the U.S. but also for food safety legislation internationally as well. And then I'll go through and discuss, some of the Intelex food and beverage solutions, specifically what we're doing to help clients in the space and really help get people ready for FSMA. And then, as JP mentioned, we'll do a question and answer period following the completion of this to take any questions that come up. So, please feel free to write your questions down, submit them in the question panel, and we'll get them taken care of towards the end. But just to get started, very quickly, just wanted to have one slide to give a bit of a background on FSMA for anybody who's new. It was a piece of legislation signed by President Obama on January 4th, 2011. And really the goal here is to ensure the food supply in the U.S. Is safe, and really we're shifting from more reactive style controls to more preventative. So instead of responding to incidents after they happen, instead of basically responding to events and recalls and food safety incidents, really making sure that we're taking a more proactive approach. So more auditing, more emphasis on risk analysis, standards like HACCP and so on and so forth. So really the need for FSMA, just some of the key details. I pulled a lot of these off the FDA website. I know some facts are fairly widely distributed, but just some key details here. 48 million Americans, or 1 in 6, get sick each year. 128,000 are hospitalized, and about 3,000 people die every year as a result from foodborne illness. So that's obviously a very serious problem that certainly want to do as much as we can to make sure we can mitigate. And really, I think the core driver for FSMA is that the current methods that we're using to track food safety in the U.S. and also internationally are proving a little bit inadequate. So about 50% of all the food that comes into the U.S. is imported from a foreign source. 60% of fresh foods and about 80% of all the seafood that come into the U.S. are from foreign sources. And really the current strategies, or how we're managing food safety today, there's a very strong reliance on port of entry inspection. So inspecting goods as they come into the U.S. and ultimately being very reactive when we have issues or we're discovering problems in the system. So again, really the focus for legislation, and I think really what we'll present today is showing how we can be more proactive using the standards and the tools that are available to make sure we're identifying problems before they actually happen. So that's my little preamble on FSMA as a whole. In terms of the core themes of the legislation, again, really focusing on prevention, more inspections, a greater level of compliance to standards that exist in the marketplace today, focusing on import safety, and as well, one thing that I'll touch on is enhanced partnerships. That means partnerships between industry and government, partnerships between government, partnerships between industry and third-party auditors, and so on and so forth. So again, we'll touch on that in the presentation as well. But to focus on some of the really important mandates, I'll go through these one by one and give a bit of detail on each mandate that really has a significant impact on industry. The first of which being, I guess in Intelex we're discovering as the most important program of FSMA would be Section 301, which is the Foreign Supplier Verification Program. So for industry, this seems like it has the greatest immediate impact. It seems like from a regulation standpoint, this is where really our first set of regulations is coming from. And really just has a high level that requires importers to verify their suppliers using risk-based preventative controls. So I have a whole bunch of content we'll go through on this one, but again, they're really for us at Intelex, and certainly from what we've heard from our clients, this is the most important aspect at this point in time. Section 302, the Voluntary Qualified Importer Program. We like to think of this as being almost a nexus card, where you'd sign up and become a voluntary qualified importer to basically expedite your imports of foreign supplied product into the U.S. Certification for high-risk imports. So if you are importing high-risk foods into the U.S., getting those certifications and making sure that you're being proactive with that. Notifying the FDA in Section 304 of food safety shipments as they're coming into the U.S., making sure that if you do have any prior refusals or any issues with previous shipments, making that aware to the FDA and basically keeping records of that. Section 305, building capacity. And this is where we come back to that idea of working together. So the FDA is going to be working with various foreign governments and bodies to basically build food safety capacity and improve communication to make the food safer as it comes into the States. Inspection of foreign food facilities in Section 306. Basically increased powers of the FDA to deny access for shipments that come into the U.S. where there might be some suspicion. Targeting of inspection resources. Some of these ones more towards the bottom here, I mean, these are things that aren't necessarily as specific to industry, that are more specific to government and FDA, so maybe we'll go through them a little quicker. But again, things like, for example, accreditation of third-party auditors, something that's very important for industry and something that's very important for legislation as a whole.